Romans chapter 8 is a wonderful chapter. It can be technical as well, and especially if you're beginning of verse 28. Verse 28 says, there we have it here, this transitional then, now. Oidamen, perfect active indicative of oida, we know. First person plural. We know. And this is talking about believers who have Bible doctrine. We know. What do you know? We have a hoti of content, which you would expect after verbs of perception. We know what? The content that you know. That. And then we have here, panta, the accusative. Well, not exactly. This is the nominative, but because panta in the neuter, it takes a singular verb. This is part of Greek. The neuter plural takes the singular verb. All things work together. Present active indicative of sunergeo. That's a compound word. Sun, with or together, plus ergo, to work. They work together. They are convenient. They work out together for good, the good of the plan of God. So yes, this is the nominative. We know that all things worked together for good. And here is in the accusative here. God works all things together for good. Works all things together. And so, now, all things work together, meaning all things, good or bad things. But to whom? Specifically to a type of one person here, a specific type of person, that is the mature believer. Well, the believer who's arrived at the point of loving God, and that begins in gate 5 of the divine powers here. We have the dative of advantage of the present active participle of agapao. Love. Present tense, those who love, who are currently in gate 5. Active voice, the believer who's arrived at gate 5 of the divine powers here has the capacity to love God, as problem solving device number 7 and problem solving device number 10. The participle is articular. To those, this is the dative of advantage, to those who love God, those who have arrived at gate 5 and beyond of the divine power sphere. So God works all things. We know that God works all things. And then here ace plus the accusative of resulting in good of the plan of God. And then another dative of advantage of this article here that goes with the noun kleitois. To those, dative of advantage, who have been called. But there's a participle, present active participle of Amy. Those being called. The present tense gets the progressiveness. You were called in eternity past, and that election continues and continues. The equal privilege and equal opportunity continues. It occurred in eternity past. You received it at the moment of salvation, and that election continues. You are elected. To those who are elected. And then the prepositional phrase here, kata plus prothesin, according to a predetermined plan. So this is, yes, predestination. Predestination is the printout, can refer to the whole plan of God, but there's a specific one here. Predestination is a reference to equal privilege and equal opportunity. Kleitois is, yes, it means call. It also means election. Okay, this promise here, verse 28, is perfect for when you are in panic mode, or you're about to panic, or you're in fear, you're about to have a nervous breakdown, whatever it is, because pressure is going to increase as you advance in the plan of God. It might catch you by surprise. So this is wonderful. This promise here is great for you to, boom, snap out of that fear. Once you slaughter that fear and snap out of it, don't let yourself be bogged down by it. Keep breathing out, applying doctrine. Once you snap out of it, you're ready to think more doctrine. And therefore, verse 29 and the rest of the verses are wonderful to get back on check. So first, snap out of that fear, use Romans 8:28, and then you can, once you get back and regroup your mind, you start thinking more complex doctrines. Therefore, what do we have in verse 29? So, again, here we are. To those who love God. And I'm going to turn on the light in a bit. Those who love God are those who, first of all, they're filled with the Holy Spirit. They're learning Bible doctrine. They've passed the point of spiritual infancy. Now they crossed the barrier to spiritual adulthood. This is adulthood. The first phase of spiritual adulthood is Gate 5 of the Divine Power Stream. This is where you form those advanced problem-solving devices. First of all, here's your soul. Here's outside pressure. This is the safeguard that protects you from those outside pressures of temptation, pressures of adversity, prosperity, etc. You form those problem-solving devices, and then once you arrive at Gate 5, you form those advanced problem-solving devices. Number 7, personal love for God the Father. 8, impersonal love for all mankind. 9, sharing the happiness of God. That is, God shares his happiness with you. 10, occupation with Christ. This of loving God, these 4 begin here at Gate 5. But you fully develop them, you fully form them all the way to Gate 8. You can become more effective at using them once you are advanced to Gate 8. But you form them at Gate 5. Loving God has to do with problem-solving device number 7. Problem-solving device number 10. Personal love for God the Father. Occupation with Christ. Personal love for the second person of the Trinity. Hypostatic union. And these are those who love God. So this promise applies specifically to only those who've arrived at Gate 5 and beyond. Only they can see all things working together for good for those who love God. Only they can see things that are hurt, things that are painful, things that are unpleasant, and say, you know what? The Lord gives and the Lord takes away. You know what? This works out together for good. So let it be. God, I'm here. And continue applying doctrine. Because the spiritual infant cannot see these things. He's still too bogged down with his self-centeredness, his egocentrism. He still sees things the way he wants to see them. He still needs Bible doctrine inside of his soul. Okay? So now, we must make sure that we understand this. Now, do not let me discourage you from using Romans 8:28 as a promise, because it does apply. I mean, you can use it, especially if it helps you keep your cool in the midst of pressure and avoid any nervous breakdown, as even if you're a spiritual infant still. If it helps you out, go ahead and use it. But continue learning Bible doctrine for this promise to become effective and for it to apply it entirely to you. Now, to those who love God, to those who have been elected, who are elected, according to the predetermined plan. And verse 29 talks about these guys. So now we have here, causal, hoti, because, but we bring down this verb, oidamen, because we know that, and then we have the accusative, direct object of the relative pronoun, hos. How do you translate the hos? Who, but in the nominative, in the accusative, whom, because we know that those whom, and then we have the verb here, aorist active indicative of proginosko. This is the foreknowledge of God. Foreknowledge, do you remember this? Proegnon, aorist active indicative of proginosko. This is the foreknowledge of God right here. Foreknowledge, foreknowledge. In the eternity past, the omniscience of God knew who would become a believer, and then he inserted that into the computer, and then foreknowledge takes now its turn, and he foreknows you. He foreknew you way before that, before you were born, way before. He foreknew that you were going to become a believer. So first comes in the insertion that you will become a believer. Boom. That's foreknowledge. So he inserted the fact that you were going to be born. Boom. That's foreknowledge. So he foreknew you. Another different category of knowledge takes over. Foreknowledge is the knowledge about the printout, the decree, regarding believers only. And we have it right here. Proginosko. All right. So first, he inserted into the decree, and the printout is foreknowledge. What is the next thing he inserted into the decree? The next thing he inserted into the decree is none other than our word, known as proorizo. Those for those, we know that those whom He foreknew. This is the culminative aorist, aorist active indicative. The culminative aorist goes back into eternity past, the insertion into the decrease that you would become a believer, but regards it from the results, the printout. He foreknew you. And so a different category of knowledge takes over. The active voice, God the Father, produces the action of the verb. In eternity past, he inserted into the decrees, and the printout comes out foreknowledge about you, that you will become a believer, and that you are a believer, and he would provide. The indicative mood, this is the reality of the doctrine of the foreknowledge of God. It says, because we know that those whom he foreknew, kai, we could translate this adjunctive, he also, proorizo, he also predestined, foreordained. So first of all, he knew you would become a believer, inserted that into the computers, foreknowledge, ready. Next one, he provided in your portfolio of invisible assets, predestination, knowing that first of all, you would become a believer. See how foreknowledge has to come in first? This is also evidence to show you that though he decreed first to create mankind, then afterwards he decreed to predestine and to elect some, wherever election is at. Election is over here, ekalesen. Those whom he foreknew, he predestined. What? Predestined to what? To sumorphos. This is the accusative, plural masculine of sumorphos. To be conformed. He predestined, conformed, and then we have the objective genitive here of eikonos. To the image of to the icon. To be conformed to the image, and then the descriptive genitive of huio, of the son, and then the possessive genitive of autu, of his son. Those whom he foreknew, he also foreordained, he predestined in eternity past. Then he inserted it into the decrees. To be conformed to the image of his son. And then ace plus the infinitive, with the result that he will become, for the purpose that he may become, this is purpose, so that he might become prototokon, the firstborn amongst many brothers. So he is the firstborn. In case you're wondering what firstborn mean, it has to do with, first of all, the priesthood. He is the priest. It has to do with the rulership. He is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And then double portion, he possesses both Israel and the church. We'll talk about that later. I'm trying not to get distracted from the computer. Verse 30. Another accusative of the relative pronoun, whos. Again, how do you translate this? And whom, and those whom. This connective there. And those whom, what? Remember, this is the accusative of the relative pronoun, so it receives the action of the verb here, prohorizon. And those whom he predestined. Aorist active indicative. Then goes back again, same morphology. Same morphology. Those whom he predestined. Aorist tense is a culminative aorist, active voice, God the Father. Indicative mood is declarative. And then we have the demonstrative, near demonstrative pronoun of hutos. Tutos in the accusative, these ones. So how do we do this? This is emphatic, these same ones. Those whom he predestined, these same ones, adjunctive use of kai, these ones he also ekalesen. He called, he elected. Election and predestination are two sides of the same coin. But notice that he foreknew you, that you were going to become a believer first. He decreed that you would be a believer. And then he decreed that you are elected and predestined. And now, so this is elected. He elected you and predestined you.